All right, today we're diving into something that might just change the way you study forever. We're going to look at the surprising truth about how our brains actually learn.
So let me ask you a question. We all do this, right? After you study something, you kind of pause and ask yourself, all right, do I actually get this? But what if I told you that simple act of judging might not be helping at all? In fact, could it be a waste of time? Let's find out.
Okay, so let's start with this really appealing idea, this potential learning hack. The whole concept is that you can boost your memory just by, checking in with yourself. It feels so intuitive, so easy. Now, this self-assessment actually has a name in the psychology world. It's called a judgment of learning, or JOL for short. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's that gut feeling, that internal confidence meter you have for how well you know a piece of information.
And this leads to a really cool theory called JOL reactivity. The big idea here is that making that judgment isn't just a passive little check-in. The theory goes that the very act of asking, how well do I know this, could actually be an active process that helps lock that memory in place. But is that really true?
Well, to figure this out, researchers had to get creative. They set up a really clever experiment to see if these judgments of learning were really the superpower they seemed to be. And for that, they used butterflies.
The setup was just brilliant in its simplicity. So, step 1, people had to learn a batch of butterfly species. Then came step 2, the most important part, the middle task, where they tested different learning strategies. After that, they had to learn a second, totally new set of butterflies. And finally, they were tested on everything they'd seen.
So, in the first experiment, they split people into 2 groups for that middle step. The JOL group learned the butterflies and then just rated how well they thought they knew them. The other group, the restudy group, used that exact same amount of time to just look over the material again, like most of us do when we study.
So, moment of truth. Did the simple act of judging their learning give them an edge? The result was, nope, absolutely no effect. Just making a judgment of learning was no better than just passively rereading the info. It looks like the promising learning hack was a total bust. But wait, the story is not over yet.
This result got the researchers thinking. Maybe JOLs weren't totally useless. Maybe they were just incomplete. What if they only work when you pair them with something else, like a secret ingredient?
And this is where we meet the hero of our story, retrieval practice. Now, this isn't just looking at your notes again. This is the act of actively trying to pull information out of your brain. It's the real work. Think about a flashcard. Retrieval is forcing yourself to say the answer before you flip it over. So they ran the experiment again. This time, they had a third group that combined that active retrieval with a JOL. And the results? Whoa, they were incredible. And here's the craziest part. The group that did retrieval plus JOL didn't just get better at the old butterflies, they absolutely crushed the test on the new butterflies they learned later on. It's like actively retrieving old info actually primed their brains to learn new things more effectively. This was a game changer.
But this amazing result led to an even bigger question. Was it the combination that was so powerful, or was one of these things doing all the heavy lifting on its own? It was time for a final showdown to find out who the real hero of learning was. For the final experiment, it was a straight-up, head-to-head comparison. One group did the winning combo from before, retrieval practice, then a judgment of learning. The other group, they just did the retrieval practice. That's it. No rating, no self-judgment, just pure recall.
And the big reveal? Well, it was crystal clear. Just look at those bars. They're basically identical. Retrieval by itself was just as powerful as retrieval plus a judgment. That "do I know this" feeling, it added literally zero benefit. The secret ingredient wasn't an ingredient at all. It was the whole recipe.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The researchers themselves say it perfectly right in the study. Basically, judging your learning doesn't seem to do much. What really matters is the critical role of retrieval.
So what's the big takeaway for all of us? It means we need to flip our entire study script. It's time to stop passively asking, do I know this? And start actively challenging our brains to prove you know this.
So how do you actually do this? Well, it's all about making your brain work. Instead of just rereading your textbook, quiz yourself. Turn the chapter headings into questions and answer them from memory. When you use flashcards, remember, the magic happens in that little bit of struggle before you turn the card over. Or try the ultimate test. Try to explain a concept out loud to someone who knows nothing about it. If you can't do it simply, you don't really know it yet. It's that effortful recall that builds strong memories.
So I'll leave you with this thought.
You've probably spent your whole life judging your learning. What do you think would happen if you started testing it instead? Because as this amazing research shows, the real power isn't in the judgment, it's in the test.